Hey guys, Iceman here, just giving you a quick video on the CA version drop safety pin. So just thought I'd do a little bit more detail here with the back of my standard Desert Eagle, which is a normal back of the firing pin. There's the firing pin stop. On the CA version there's another pin here, and that pin consists of what we can see is a pin, and then there's a piece of a spring, a wire spring that runs here or here vertically, and this pin, when it's pushed in by the bottom of the hammer as the hammer comes forward, pushes that wire, vertical wire, out of the way, either this way or that way, because on the California version firing pin there's a notch cut into the side of the firing pin, so when this extra pin gets pushed in, it pushes this vertical pin sideways and releases this safety, allowing it to travel forward. This is an inertial firing pin, and the reason we believe that the CA version drop safety is there is to stop the firing pin from moving forward if the pistol is dropped. Whether or not this would work if the pistol was dropped on its hammer is another thing, because the hammer would be resting against these two pins, and we would assume that as the hammer hits the ground it would push this pin in, releasing the safety, allowing the safety to move forward. So I assume, well, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that this drop safety only works when the hammer is in the rearward position. It may not work when the hammer is resting against here, but I'm not too sure about that. There is no technical information on that, and I'm sure there's no one on the site who's wanting to drop their CA version on the ground to let us know whether or not the firing pin moves. So hopefully that assists a little bit more. Now we know how this works, and behind this plate on the CA version is a small spring that keeps that second pin pushed backwards, and supposedly to remove this you have to push this and this in at the same time to slide this up, which is a bit of a pain. Just quickly, while I've got this out, I'll show you underneath mine so you can see. This is the bolt guide pin. This is the slots here. There's one on each side, up here and down here, which have the actual safety cam in it from the safety lever. When you turn the safety lever, this cam's down, pushing the trigger bar horns downwards, disengaging them from the sear. So this is the standard safety feature of this pistol. This also blocks the firing pin when these have been turned, pressed when the safety is on. They block the firing pin naturally. The front of the pistol here, or the bolt, sorry, of the slide here is a close-up of my bolt with the bolt face, obviously locking lugs, and the ejector, extractor, firing pin hole. This is the stabilizer guide, and behind that is a stabilizer guide pin which has got a spring on it which keeps that pushed outwards. Now when you're removing this unit assembly from within the slide, you have to keep pressure on this as you release this bolt out, otherwise this will fly out, because this is what stops this bolt from moving backwards, because it unlocks and allows the bolt to rotate. It's very hard to do this while holding the camera, guys, but basically if I can do it with my finger here, you'll see what I mean. Push the bolt in and then you push the bolt back in, and as you can see it rotates out, and then you'll see the guide come out and lock in, and you'll see the locking section just there, locked onto that lug there. So as that moves back out the way, it releases the bolt and allows it to move back. So when this goes into battery, this hits the breech and is pushed inwards, which allows the bolt to rotate. Otherwise the bolt is fixed in place like that and doesn't move. It's quite a smart system, well engineered, and one of the special features of this particular pistol. So there's a close up there of the bolt itself. So on the bottom of mine, unlike the CA versions, I don't have a stamp there with a number on it. You can see while I've got the you can see the wear there where the Cerakotes come off, but that's a normal for it to come off there. You can see there, and that's the slide. Now, while I've got the camera rolling, I'll quickly show you something else because it's interesting. Anyway, this is my box of Desert Eagle parts, and I have quite a lot in here. This one's a good one if for the people who are wondering what the Extractor Spring looks like. That there is your Extractor polymer spring. It's just like a pyramid shaped piece of polymer rubber, which is what they've replaced the original spring with, because the spring on the original Extractor on the early model marks of the Desert Eagle kept breaking and wasn't reliable, so they replaced it with that. I've been told it can last many years if you don't get solvents on it too much. Obviously there's springs there. I've got all sorts of stuff in here. I've got spare piston, spare. There's the firing pin. So you can see that's the firing pin. You can see the cutout there. That locks, so that causes it to be locked in place when you put the trigger safety on. It locks into those cutouts. So I don't know if I'm picking it up very well. It's very hard to. But anyway, that was a very expensive part, and I've got a spare stabilizer, bolt stabilizer guide there, and ejector there. There's all sorts of stuff in here. That's the pin. That's the pin there. That runs on. So there's a spring on that and that. So that's it there. So anyway, you guys will all be very familiar with this. Most of you will be very familiar with these parts because you're around them all the time. But this is of any help to anybody who's interested. This box of parts cost me nearly $800. Yep. So they aren't cheap, and I paid a hefty price for them. Over here things are not cheap. You can actually get a pack like this, which is called a tune-up kit, and it's got all of these springs plus the many of the other springs and polymer springs, etc. in it, and it's about $50 US. So you know, you guys need to snap those up if you can. I've even got the little clips there for the end of the guide rods on the recoil spring assembly. And they were $20 each. Yes guys, $20 each. I'll just give you a zoom action on those. $20 each. So anyway, I hope that was of some help to you guys again, and I will now put my Eagle back together again, and I'm sure that why you're looking forward to getting yours. We hope to see yours soon, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers.